Sasuke motioned for the next match to begin. 10 minutes of battling. The battle went to waterfall. Sasuke was glad that it was over. When it was all done, he instructed the winners to come to the ring. He decided to hang back and let Tsunade explain the rules and give her boring speech. That one was required, though, Kage. All of you have advanced to the finals. The finals will start in 1 month. Now, before any of you ask why, allow me to explain. One reason is to prepare for this event. The Chunin exam is watched by many, and it gives the country and hidden village leaders time to come to the exam. Also, this is done for your benefit as well. A lot of you had a chance to see the moves of your potential opponents, which means you have a month to train, adapt, and come up with something new. Tsunade motion for Ino to start. Ino stepped forward and addressed the genin. In this box, there are pieces of paper with numbers on it. Pick one piece of paper. Ino walked down the line until she was at the last genin. Standing on Tsunade's right, she said, "Now, starting from my right, I want you to call out your number." 5, Hane Uwapuri from the sand said. 13 was Fudigi's number. 1, of course, Makinu said. 9, Ranpu told the blonde Anbu/Jonin. 16, Kasumi Migawas, the female Miss Ninja said. 4, Ishii said. 14, the only member of Kamoku's team in the tournament said. 2, Jikoku said. 8, Suki informed everyone. 10 was Reido's number. 7 said Jin Sabare of the Sand. 11, the Rain Village's Natsu Mitame. 15 was Yogan's response. 13, Nero Jobo was the last that gave his number. Ino spoke. "Now look at the board in Ibiki's hand. The number next to your name is the person you will fight in the tournament. Match 1. Makinu Sushichu versus Jikoku Inkon. Match 2. Nero Chobo versus Ishii Tamajari. Match 3. Hane Uwapuri versus Ki Tenpopo. Match 4. Jin Sabare versus Suki Ogugata. Match 5. Ranpu Hyuga versus Reido Hyakuya. Match 6. Natsu Mitame versus Fushido Taiga. Match 7. Futeki Jinsei versus Kushoku Denko. Match 8. Yogan Fukazan versus Kasumi Migiwa. Right off the bat, good. Ranpu was happy to see who he was fighting. Reido was also happy. Makinu would have preferred to fight Reido, but he was glad that he would get a crack at Jikoku. Jikoku was confident that he would defeat Makinu. He was just glad that he didn't get placed in the bracket that Reido was in. But he was still in the bracket Suki was in, which wasn't good, but it was better than Reido. Anko, who was still on the balcony with the rest of the Jonins, turned to Senzuru. "Looks like your boys get that cloud squad that swept through." He nodded. "Yes, a month will do them good. I got just the idea for their training." Senzuru smiled at Anko. "Well, I've seen all I needed to see. I better go check on Akuru. Later, Anko." "Tenzo," Senzuru said. Senzuru left the two Jonin to check on his injured student. Tsunade took note of his departure. She couldn't help but think that this tournament was going to be interesting. The first match would kick things off. After seeing that Makinu kid pull off the move that he did, it was to be expected. Also, she knew that Senzuru would train both of them until they couldn't stand. "Now you have people to take out what I did to you on." Her memory was short-lived when her eyes fell on Reido. "So that's Aisu's son. The match between him and the Hyuga will be most promising. I look forward to that match." Reido asked a question. "Lady Hokage, if this is a tournament, does that mean the winner advances to Chunin?" "No, it's a possibility that you all might become Chunin, but it's a possibility that none of you will. The daimyos, the other Kages, and I will decide who is worthy of the Chunin title. Winning a match just gives you a chance to keep proving yourself if you didn't," Tsunade explained. Reido thought that it was stupid, the way the exam was judged, but he didn't care. His mission wasn't to become a Chunin. His mission was to make it to the finals to ensure his father's invitation, which he did. His mission was complete, and now he would enjoy himself. "You're all dismissed. I will see you all in 1 month." Sasuke walked over to Hayami. He looked at the girl for a good minute before giving her a genuine smirk. "Let's get out of here." Tsunade, Ibiki, and Ino watched as everyone exited. "So, that Cloud Kunoichi is still after her." Ino: "Already on it. I will inform Neji. Time is burning away, Lady Tsunade. We only have a month before it begins. Did you get any word on Naruto?" "Yes, it seems I was right about Danzo." So, they sent a root squad after him. Are they dead? Ibiki asked. Yes, Sai returned 2 days ago and informed me Naruto dispatched them effortlessly. He knew I was trying to place Sai with him to keep track of his movements, but yet again he gave Sai the slip, and appeared in Wave Country to save Konohamaru and his squad from an attack by a rock shinobi. Shutting her eyes, Tsunade continued. From what Konohamaru, Hanabi, Uda, and Muigi told me, he mercilessly slaughtered 5 shinobi from rock. Well, he did it to save them, I'm sure, Ino said in Naruto's defense. Shaking her head, she said, yes and no. According to Jiraiya, who Naruto met up with to get information, it was because he found they were part of Isu's strike force on the Minashu clan. So what, do you think he's going to go after the Raikage? Ino wondered. I don't know what Naruto is planning. Hell, not even Jiraiya knows. He appears in Suna, then at the bridge named after him, only to disappear once more. I got a feeling that he is avoiding the village mainly because there are too many shinobi after him. Bolt and Root are not only patrolling within Fire Country, but you have the squads from those 2 organizations tracking him. Damn, Naruto sure is pissing a lot of people off if they want him dead that bad, Ino pointed out. So it would seem, Tsunade replied. Naruto, you give Sai the slip. Fool, he could have helped you out there. At least I would know if you are alright. Damn, you have me worried. Kid, where in the hell are you? Northern Mountain Hills. 200 shadow clones decorated the field. Rin, after leaving Sasuke to report back to Yokana Kuroi, immediately headed back to her safe haven. Naruto's arrival yesterday relieved her. She was glad that he was back. She prayed nothing happened to him, but she knew that she didn't have to worry. She watched as he trained hard. The Hiraishin was a technique she couldn't hope to master, but Naruto was well on his way to doing it. She understood the mechanics of it. It was a summoning jutsu that required little chakra when it was mastered. Naruto was using less and less chakra from what she could see. Yellow flashes were occurring all over the field. It was as if someone was taking pictures with multiple yellow flashes. It had been 4 months since he came, and to come this far, it was inconceivable. Her thoughts went from Naruto to Kakashi. She missed Kakashi so much. She smiled, thinking that she would see him sooner. Feeling guilty for not being there for Naruto when he was little, she felt like she failed her sensei. Her participation in this war would only be because of her debt that she felt she owed him, and to see Kakashi once more. Looking at Naruto giving his all to his training, you will show them all, Naruto, the mistake that they made. I promise I'll be by your side when you do. They will all see what I see, I believe. A kunai was sent flying through the air a ways away from the house. Naruto appeared in front of the kunai when it hit the ground. He found himself in a familiar place. This is where I climbed when I first came here. Looking towards the direction of Konoha, he could feel the kunai were getting stronger, senses-wise, connected to him through his blood and his spirit. He could sense them even more than he did before. This only illustrated his mastery of the technique. He could sense one moving. He didn't know whether it was Hayami or Yumi. He just knew that it would be soon. Soon. Konoha, 4 p.m. Sasuke was walking with Hayami at his side. After treating the girl to ramen, they were heading back to the Uchiha district. Konoha was more crowded than usual. He attributed this to the Chunin exams. This one would probably be the biggest in years. He couldn't wait to watch, but most of all, he couldn't wait to fight. The two walked in silence towards the district until Hayami pulled on Sasuke's leg. Sasuke, why does that building have the same fan I see in your house and on all of your clothing? Sasuke looked up to see the star on the building that held the Uchiha symbol in the middle. A memory of him asking Itachi the same question popped in his head. He completely forgot about Hayami until she tapped him again. Sasuke? The building is the headquarters for Konoha's military police. The fan inside the military's police emblem, which you refer to, is my clan symbol. The reason my family crest is in the middle of the star is because the Uchiha clan were the founding members of the police corps. Sasuke's eyes stayed glued to the fan. His mind drifted to the time when he first successfully performed the fireball jutsu in front of his father. Flashback. As expected, my child, you have done well. From now on, you can proudly wear the family crest on your back. You must improve and continue to rise to great heights. His father slowly turned to him. In addition, I will say this. Don't follow your brother's path. End of flashback. Yet, I did exactly what you told me not to, father, feeling a tug at his pant legs again. He looked down at the one causing it. "Sasuke, are you okay?" the girl asked her guardian out of concern. "Yeah, let's go." The two continued to the Uchiha compound. 10 minutes later. Sasuke and Hayami entered the house. He could tell they were the only ones here. Yumi was probably with Tamari, is what he assumed. It didn't matter, he still had training he needed to do. Today he would train inside instead of outdoors. First he needed to change out of his Jonin uniform. Before he did that, "I'm gonna change, don't wander around." "Okay," giving a soft reply, Hayami watched as Sasuke slowly walked towards his room. She decided to go to hers. When she entered the room, she sat on her bed next to Foxy. Adjusting the pouch that was on her waist, she unzipped it and pulled out the kunai Konohamaru had given her. He told her that he had seen Naruto and he had given it to him to give to her. The teen told her to keep it on her person at all times. She held the kunai in her hand and she just examined it. "Why'd you give me this kunai, big brother? Why couldn't you just come get me? I don't like it here. Everyone hates you here, and the people are not nice. I don't know why you gave me this kunai, but I will hold on to it until you get back." Hayami placed the kunai in her pouch. She was bored, and being a curious child, she decided to go into Sasuke's room. She entered the room that wasn't far from hers. It was a nice big room from what she could see. She looked around until her eyes fell on a picture that caught her eyes. Walking up to the picture, she leaned forward to see the picture clearly. She recognized Sasuke in the blue shirt. The girl in the middle looked a lot like Sakura. She saw the guy with the headband covering his left eye before, but she didn't know him too well. Then her eyes focused on the boy on the far right. The whisker marks were a dead giveaway. Big brother Naruto. She picked up the frame to get a better look of the picture. She continued to study the picture, analyzing it, and picking up little details. She noticed that Naruto wore the headband that she saw most shinobi in the village wear. Big brother Naruto was a leaf shinobi? "What are you doing?" Hayami tensed up and almost dropped the frame, but got a grip on it. She turned to see Sasuke with Sweat standing behind her. She put the picture where it was. "I was getting lonely, and well, I came out here to wait for you, then I saw a picture of you, Sakura, and Big Brother Naruto. I'm sorry for not listening, Sasuke." Sasuke reached past the girl to pick up the picture. He looked at it deeply. His genin is a #1 rookie, the brainiac Kanoichi, the dead last, and the infamous copy ninja Kakashi. Together they formed Cell 7. Sasuke put the picture back and walked towards the exit. Hayami followed him. Sasuke turned to see the girl following him. "What do you want?" "Can I ask you something, Sasuke? It's about Big Brother Naruto." "What is it?" "Well, Big Brother Naruto had on the same headband that I see all shinobi here wear. Was Big Brother Naruto a shinobi for this village?" Hayami questioning caused Sasuke to stop. A few seconds passed. Sasuke answered. "Yes, the memories of Naruto and the fight at the Valley of the End came to mind." Flashback. Using the log as a balance beam, Sasuke stared across the water and into the red eyes of the only person he saw as his best friend. Staring at his reflection in the water, he spoke in a soft voice that radiated with the power of his emotions. "It's true I don't know anything about parents or siblings, but when I'm with Iruka-sensei, I wonder if that's what it's like to have a father." Looking up from his reflection to stare at the two-tempo Sharingan Sasuke. "And when I'm with you, I wonder if this is what it's like to have a brother." Why, Naruto? Why go so far for me? Sasuke really wanted to know why Naruto would risk everything for him. What was so special about him? "This is one of the first bonds I ever had." The answer Sasuke got was one he didn't expect. End of flashback. Sasuke continued to walk towards the dojo that was indoors. His training would be light today. He would give it his all tomorrow. Today he would just do a couple punches to the punching bag, a few sit-ups, push-ups. When Sasuke got in front of a big door on the other side of where they were staying, he opened the door to reveal a decent-sized dojo. Hayami took notice of the swords and immediately ran to them. She picked up the katana, unsheathing the sword that was just as big as her. She took a swipe at the air. She continued to swing the sword until she got tired of swinging. Sheathing the sword, she placed the sword back on the wall where it was. Seeing her pick that particular sword, his mother came to mind. Flashback. Mikoto Uchiha, Jonin of the Leaf Village, wife of the military police captain and head of the Uchiha clan, and the mother of two. Sasuke watched as his mother trained with the sapphire Nagato/hilt of katana. The long silver blade shined as he watched every swing his mother made. The sweat that lay against her forehead flew off her head as she executed a sharp slash with her right that extended further right. Mikoto stopped and sheathed her sword. Breathing hard while her body was lightly damp with sweat, she turned to see her 5-year-old son watching. "Sasuke, I thought you were out training with your father," she asked the boy. His smile faded and his head sunk low. Father said that he had to prepare Itachi for an exam. Sasuke's head was still hung low. He wondered why his brother was always the one getting father's attention. Did his father hate him? Was Itachi his favorite? Sasuke looked up to see his mother holding the katana in her hand. She motioned for him to come to her. The young Uchiha walked up to his mother. She handed him the katana. Looking it over, he didn't understand. "Why are you giving this to me, Mom?" Sliding behind Sasuke and slipping her hands over his. "I'm going to show you how to properly swing a sword. I know that you would prefer your father over me, but I think I can be an effective teacher." She smiled at her younger child, but when he put his head down, her smile faded, and she wondered why the sulky attitude. "What's the matter, Sasuke? You're only doing this because father doesn't want to train me, right?" She forcibly grabbed his chin and brought his eyes to hers. "Don't think that I would ever do that. I'm doing this because I want to show you how to use this particular weapon. Also because I love you, and I want to make sure you reach your potential, Sasuke." Now, Mikoto slipped her hands back over his. "This is how you properly hold it." After a few swings, she went to the side to watch Sasuke. Sasuke continued the strikes for a few minutes. After then, he stopped suddenly. He walked over and sat next to his mother. "Mom, do you like Big Brother better than me? How can you say such a thing? I love you and Itachi the same. Don't ever think that again. I'm sure your father is going to be busy with Itachi. Don't be mad at him. Itachi is a genin, and he's preparing for the Chunin exams. Your father just wants to see him succeed, that's all. When your time comes, it'll be the same. Now let's go. I have to feed my strong and growing men. I'll show you how to use it some more tomorrow. It'll be our little secret." After she took the katana from Sasuke and placed it back on the wall, she exited the dojo with Sasuke in tow. And a flashback. "Do you like the sword?" Hayami turned around to face Sasuke, who had his arms folded and nodded. "It's yours." Sasuke turned his back to the girl and started to kick the wooden practice dummy. The girl shook her head. "I can't, Sasuke. This katana looks too nice for me to have. I can't take something like this from you." "I said you can have it. I have no use for it. You are from a samurai clan. I'm sure you have some training with it. Sitting there, it would just waste away. Besides, you're going to have to protect yourself," Sasuke said to the girl who didn't quite understand. "Defend myself?" she said confusingly. "Yes, defend yourself. Even though you gathered up what little courage you had to look your fear in the eyes, you're still controlled by it. Looking to face it will help you get over it. Believe it or not, I can't and will not protect you forever, nor will Naruto, Shinji, or anyone else. In this world, sometimes you have to depend on your own strength to get by. Depending on others is something the weak do. The brave stand and face their fear head on. That sword, it will be your weapon to face that fear head on." Looking down at the girl, he wondered what was going on through her mind. Hayami gazed at the sword. "My weapon to face that fear." Looking up at Sasuke. "I can't face her even with this. I'm just a kid, and she's stronger than me." "So what if she's stronger? Are you going to roll over and die a coward's death?" Sasuke's voice elevated as he asked the question. She put her head down in shame. She was nothing more than a scared coward. The fact was she couldn't help it. When she went to sleep at night, she saw that lady's face standing over her parents' bodies. The look, the smile, everything about the lady just scared her. She often wondered what made her stand up against the lady in the forest. Was it because she had nothing to lose? Was that the reason her fear disappeared? She didn't know. Sasuke understood the girl, but he could not and would not offer her any pity. "You're a coward. You don't deserve to call yourself Naruto's sister. He may be an idiot, but I will say that as long as I've known him, he has feared nothing. You, on the other hand, are scared because she is stronger than you, and you feel that you can't beat her. There will be a lot of people stronger than you. You can't run and hide hoping that problem will solve itself." He turned his back on the girl. "Get out of my sight. I don't respect your kind." Tears started to slowly fall down the girl's face. The katana slipped from her hands and hit the wooden floor. She immediately ran out of the room with tears streaming down her eyes. Running to her room, she passed Tamari and Yumi, who looked at her as she passed. Seeing that the doors to the dojo were open and the likely commotion she came from, they proceeded to the dojo to see what caused the girl to run out like that. When Yumi and Tamari entered, they saw Sasuke backside. Twisting his head just enough to see who entered, he merely said, "Tamari, Yumi." Seeing Sasuke, Tamari's eyes narrowed in anger. "What did you do, Uchiha?" Turning his head so they wouldn't see his face, he spoke in a solemn tone. "What was necessary? I swear if you..." Before Tamari could chew into the Uchiha, he cut her off. "You don't understand at all, do you?" Sasuke questioned, caused Tamari and Yumi to look at him weird. "What are you talking about, Sasuke?" Yumi asked. "None of you have ever lived with the fear that she has. You think you understand her, but in reality, you have no idea. You all think that she's over her clan's death. Unlike me at her age, she put on a few smiles, but she is a scared little girl, confused and feels alone. She has no one, and the two people she has are not even here. The thought of being killed by that very person will cause her to run from that person, ultimately becoming hateful and devoting every waking hour to that person. That fear of not being able to do anything turns to hatred that will destroy you and everything around you." Sasuke walked in front of Yumi and picked up the katana that was in front of her. He walked past the two women who watched him as he left. Before exiting, Sasuke spoke. "I've made that mistake. She shouldn't have to." Yumi glanced over to Tamari, who glanced at her as well. They had no idea what Sasuke meant by that. Yumi turned to where the Uchiha exited. "What are we seeing, Sasuke? What is it that you know about her that we don't?" Yumi knew that the girl was lonely and her fear for the Cloud Shinobi. The way Sasuke spoke, it was as if he was that girl at one point. He had intended to train today, but that was out of the question. He didn't feel like it. Walking towards Hayami's room, he saw the girl lying on the bed, crying. Without him seeing her, he placed his sword next to her bed, then was gone again. Leaving the Uchiha compound, Sasuke had no idea where he was going. Right now, he was going wherever his feet would take him. Always on guard, he took notice of the Anbu lurking near his house. So, Tsunade's making sure nothing happens. He continued until he was outside of the Uchiha district. Thinking back to see the girl lying across the bed crying, he wondered if he could still do that. The river of tears that flowed from his eyes was dried up. Flashback. It was a few weeks after the Uchiha massacre. Sasuke found himself heading home from the academy, blocking everyone out. He moved along through the streets of Konoha until he reached his place of solace, the lake near his home. "Mom, Dad, why, big brother?" The boy found himself sitting at the edge of the plank, looking into the water. Tears were streaming from his eyelids. "I couldn't do anything. Everyone died, and I couldn't do anything. Even when I was confronted by Big Brother, I was afraid. Those eyes, Sasuke started to cry harder. With his vision blurred from the tears, the image of his father appeared in the water. The next image that appeared was his always cheerful mother. He missed her so much. She always knew the right thing to say, her touch. He just missed her. Then the next image that appeared caused him to back away. It was his brother. When that image appeared, so did the image of the bodies that decorated the Uchiha district a few weeks ago. How could his brother, no, how could Itachi do this? Clenching his fists, Sasuke launched himself into the water. "In order to kill you, no matter how dark the future is, I will push through it. No matter what happens, I will obtain power. From now on, I am an avenger." End of flashback. Continuing on his path, Sasuke found himself in front of the building complex that Sakura lived on. From where he was at, he could see her window. Looking up at her window, Sasuke wanted to go up there so bad and talk to her, but honestly, he didn't know what to say. He continued to know where in particular. It was kind of like his life now that he thought about it, just aimlessly wandering, with no direction or sense of purpose. For years he blamed Itachi for this, but now that he thought about it, he did it to himself. Cloud Village. A captain of the Bolt Squad stood before the Raikage. "Sir, we lost track of Uzumaki. However, we discovered Anbu dead when he arrived at the location. I see your thought on this." Why is Anbu after that kid? I thought he was on Konoha's side. Something doesn't make sense about that, unless there is someone who wants him dead as much as I do. Okay, I want you to back up the squads that are in Fire Country. The captain nodded and left his office. As the captain exited, Kadon entered. Aisu looked at Kadon. It seems our friend Uzumaki has dispatched 4 members of the Konoha's elite Anbu. Surprised by this. Really, that is something. I guess you should have sent Koen or me after him. It is of no difference. Either of us would be sufficient to take care of him, I'm sure. Aisu wasn't so sure. Koen definitely. You, a big maybe. Even your powers might not be enough. But my friend doesn't seem too interested in your plan, sir. That guy, sometimes I wonder. Aisu placed his hands in front of his mouth. Kadon was right. Koen was getting harder and harder to control. He didn't want to lose his best soldier, but he was certain that he would have to take him down himself if he didn't fall in line. But that could wait until after Konoha fell. Speaking of Konoha, did you receive any word about Rado yet? Shaking his head. No, I haven't yet, sir. I'm sure they'll coast through. I'm just curious. Why even let Kumiko take a team? She's foolish, and she's going to get herself killed. I could care less about the little girl or Shinji. They are of no threat to me. Kumiko, on the other hand, is still trying to get Naruto's attention. She's a damn fool. You would think she would have learned from encountering him and missed that she stood no chance. So instead of using these last 6 months to do nothing, she could have used them to train. Her arrogance and foolishness will get her killed. As good as she is, she can do what she wants, and I really could care less. Kadon understood what he was trying to say. She was strong, probably the 4th strongest shinobi in Cloud, but she was too driven on killing Naruto. He couldn't think about her. He had other things he needed to get done. Sir, when the report comes in about Team Koen, I will give you their update. Kadon exited the office. Aisu's thoughts drifted to Naruto and Senzuru. I'm certain the boy has come a long way with the sword, but there is no way he will be able to do with it what Ryuho could have done with it. He lacks experience, so I shouldn't really be worrying about him. Senzuru, on the other hand, is a different story. I need to make sure he's neutralized during the exams. How though? His level of skill is near that of mine, and he knows how to use the Phoenix Claw, that I know for a fact. So, what can I do about him? It came to Aisu. Yes, that will neutralize him. I will make him watch as I take away his dear mother. The Raikage had his plan. Everything would go his way. The only wild card was Uzumaki. It didn't matter though, he would crush him as well. Konoha Hospital, 7 p.m. Makinu, Ranpu, Futeki, and Yasumi were sitting around a crew's bed. The girl was heavily bandaged, and it was clear she wasn't waking up anytime soon. Makinu's fist remained in a ball. I swear, I wish I was the one fighting that Rado. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of him. Just worry about that Jikoku kid, Ranpu said to his teammate. It seems like we all got Cloud Shinobis for our first match. Anko-sensei said we start training first thing tomorrow morning. She's going to put me through hell, Futeki said to the group. Yeah, we started training as well. Senju-sensei said he's going to train us together. I pray he doesn't treat us like Konohamaru, Makinu said with a worried look. Ranpu, however, was looking forward to it. If we have to go through what he has to go through, then it'll be more than interesting. Looking at Yasumi. Yasumi, what are you going to be doing during this month? Are you going to be helping Yogan? Makinu asked. Not likely. Tenzo-sensei will probably work with him and Nero. At best, I'll probably watch, the member of Squad 8 informed the group. The group looked up when they saw a pink-haired Kunoichi walk in the room. You must be your friends. It's great to see you are here for your friend. I'm sure she'll be glad to know you guys are here when she wakes up. How long will she be out? Makinu asked. Who knows? Maybe a week? Give me some room, I have to check on her. The group moves so Sakura could check on the girl. Makinu turned to Futeki. I can't wait for the finals to start. I don't like those Cloud bastards, especially that redhead lady. I hear you, intimidating little girl. It was cool what the ref did to her. Next she was laughing, then she was on her knees with a frightened look, Futeki said. I'm not surprised Sasuke Uchiha is an elite shinobi after all, Ranpu said to the group. Sasuke's name got Sakura's attention. She looked at Ronpu. Did you say Sasuke Uchiha? Yeah, what of it? Ronpu replied. I'm just curious. This little girl, she wouldn't happen to have purple hair, would she? Sakura asked. Makinu nodded. Yes, she does. Sakura only heard pieces, but she wanted to know the details. Could you tell me what happened with Sasuke, that redhead cloud shinobi, and the little girl? Futaki started to explain. Well, I don't know what was happening exactly. All I know is that the little girl doubled over screaming. The cloud Kunoichi was obviously responsible because she was laughing. Then out of nowhere she collapses to the ground. The ref is all red eyes on her, basically telling her that she'll have to go through him to get to the girl, and that he would use his eyes to harm her if she tried. Ronpu interjected. That's not all. He also informed that Rain and Rock Jonin that if they had any issues with that Naruto guy, if he said reminded him of Makinu, then he would crush them too. Naruto. Who the hell is Naruto? Makinu said loudly. He was once a shinobi of Konoha, Sakura said to the group who turned their attentions on her. You know the guy? Makinu asked. Yes, Sasuke, Naruto, and I were on the same Genin squad under Kakashi Hatake, Sakura informed the group. All of the Genins knew that name. Futaki stuttered. You trained under the legendary Sharingan Kakashi? Father and mother told me stories of him and his greatness. I can't believe you trained under such a shinobi. Only if they knew him like I did, then they wouldn't think Kakashi-sensei is so great, Sakura thought to herself. Yes, but tell me, did Sasuke really threaten those shinobi for that little girl? Yep, scared her shitless. That guy looked so cool doing it too, standing over her while she was on the floor. I didn't even see her move, Makinu informed Sakura. A smile formed on the pink-haired medic ninja's face. Here I was starting to think that you didn't have a heart, Sasuke Uchiha. Sakura looked up to see Makinu trying to get her attention. Yes? What's your name, miss? Sakura Haruno, Sakura said. Yasumi spoke. You're Sakura Haruno? Yes, Sakura informed the girl. Makinu, being confused, tapped Futaki. Who is this Sakura Haruno? She couldn't believe him sometimes. Sakura Haruno, the best medic ninja in the village next to Lady Tsunade and Shizune, of course. She was personally trained by the Fifth herself. Oh, Makinu then turned to Sakura. You must be strong, training under the Fifth and the legendary Kakashi Hatake? I'm an okay shinobi. Anyway, your friend should be okay in time. I have other patients. You guys take care. Sakura waved to the group who waved goodbye at her. She couldn't believe that Sasuke did that. First, he didn't want to have anything to do with the girl, and then he moves her into his compound. Sometimes he was just too hard to figure out. She didn't know what to do with him. One thing was certain. He wasn't as cold as she was starting to believe. He renewed her faith in him once again. Uchiha compound. Sasuke closed the door behind him as he entered. He decided to return and check up on the girl. He walked to her room. When he got to her door, he saw her sitting on her bed with the Team 7 photo that was in his room. He watched the unsuspecting girl. Hayami was looking at Naruto. I'm sorry I'm not being brave, Big Brother Naruto. Sasuke told me that you wouldn't be afraid, but I'm just too scared of her, Big Brother. He's right though, I am a coward. I'm not even living up to the Bushido that I made for myself. I miss Mommy and Daddy so much. I even wish Big Brother Shinji was here. Why didn't you wait for me to wake up and take me with you, Big Brother? Sasuke just watched the girl from the door. He could see the tears that stained the glass frame. Sympathy, no, that wasn't something she needed. In fact, that's what everyone was giving her. She needed to realize that she would survive. She needed to know that she could use that pain. It would make her stronger. So, I see you don't respect people's property, Sasuke said to the girl, looking up with tear-stained cheeks. I'm sorry, Sasuke, I'll put it back. Forget it, follow me, I want to show you something. Hayami placed a picture on the bed and followed Sasuke. Walking behind the much taller man, she had no idea where he was taking her. Finally, they arrived in front of a wooden door. Sasuke slowly pulled the door open and stepped inside of the room. Hayami looked at him. Why are we here? This is where it happened. This is where my parents were killed. The Uchiha was looking at the spot his parents' bodies laid 10 years ago. Just like you, my clan was killed off. The one responsible was my older brother. Hayami saw the sadness and a hint of anger in his eyes. Sasuke lost his family in a similar way. He continued, I was like you, Hayami, but instead of that cloud shinobi, it was my brother who I feared. I walked in after he killed him. I got scared and ran. When he caught up to me, he told me to run and hide and live in an unsightly way. And when I had the same eyes as he did, to come after him, I was afraid of him. Every time I thought about him or heard his name. Eventually, I overcame it. How, Sasuke? Can you tell me how? She asked. Sasuke closed his eyes. I don't recommend my way. My way will only cause you to seek power by any means and close yourself off to everyone that cares about you. Your fear will turn into hate. That hate will turn into vengeance. That vengeance, it will swallow you whole. The way I overcame it, I became an avenger. Every moment of my life was dedicated to killing my brother. I didn't find friends to be necessary. They would only get in my way, so I thought. An avenger sounds lonely. I don't want to be an avenger. I just don't want anything to happen to Big Brother Naruto, Big Brother Shinji, and everyone else, Hayami told Sasuke. I know, at least you realize that being an avenger isn't the best choice. I figured that if I didn't have any attachments, it wouldn't affect me if someone died. So training was all I did. I strive for perfection, for power to crush the man who did that to my clan. I willingly sold my soul to the devil, so to speak. Orochimaru flashed in Sasuke's head. Flashback. It was a few weeks after he arrived at Orochimaru's place in Sound. Personally, the underground layer wasn't his taste, but he didn't care. Orochimaru had the power he needed, and he would get it. He was walking through the candlelit layer to Orochimaru's personal training quarters. When he entered, he saw Orochimaru standing in the middle of the room. Showing off his trademark smile, the snake Sannin spoke. Sasuke, I'm surprised to see you here so soon. I thought I told you to come here in another hour. Are you so impatient? Train me already, I don't have time to waste. If I wanted to waste time, I would have stayed in Konoha, Sasuke said to the Sannin. I guess you do make a point. Today, I have a business to tend to, so you'll be training alone. However, Orochimaru pulled out a scroll. I want you to sign this snake contract. The snake contract, huh? Now we're talking. Sasuke signed the contract Orochimaru had given him. After he was done, he looked up at Orochimaru. Okay, now what? I don't like training without being able to test my power on someone. A training partner is what you seek. Well, I have a few shinobi who wish to prove themselves to me. I'm sure any one of them will fight you. Orochimaru snapped his finger and 10 sound shinobi came out. Sasuke smirked. 10? Are you serious? Orochimaru left him in a purple flame. Sasuke looked at the shinobi before him. Bring it. 10 minutes later, Kabuto came in to check on Sasuke. Orochimaru had ordered him to do so. When he looked around, he saw Sasuke standing in the middle of the room. All the shinobi that came after him laid, beaten. Looking up at Kabuto with his Sharingan active, Sasuke asked, So, are you my opponent or just coming to check up on me? Lord Orochimaru wanted to see how you fared against some of his stronger shinobi. I'm surprised myself to see you standing, Kabuto said. Don't be. These guys are weak. I didn't even break a sweat. I guess, using the curse seal you wouldn't have to, Kabuto stated. Kabuto, who was watching Sasuke closely, could see the smirk. That smirk, it drove him crazy. Sasuke was hiding something. Then, it all became clear. You didn't use the curse seal. I didn't have to, maybe on you though. Orochimaru was always saying how your strength is comparable to Kakashi's. I wonder, Sasuke took a step forward toward Kabuto. Kabuto slipped into a fighting stance. Be careful, Sasuke, you're giving me the impression that you can beat me. I would back off if I were you. You're out of your league, kid. Kabuto was confident that Sasuke was still far below him. Even if Orochimaru praised the boy, there was no way he could challenge him. The boy was high off of his victory against the fools he defeated. He would put him in his place, well, at least he intended to. Until he fell to the ground, breathing hard. Sasuke smirked his victory over Kabuto. Yet he compares you to Kakashi when you're not even stronger than Naruto. Pathetic. Sasuke exited the room thinking, I'm closer than you may think, Itachi. In time, I will crush you. That you can count on. End of flashback. Sasuke freed himself from the memories of his past. He motioned for Hayami to follow him. They left and headed back to the main house. When they entered, they walked to the girl's room and picked up the picture to carry it back to his room. Placing it back on the stand, his gaze fell upon a blonde shinobi. Itachi may have been the one I wanted to kill, but you are the one I need to know if I could beat. Hayami tapped Sasuke. Sasuke, do you have anyone you care about? You said being an avenger was a lonely, isolated path. Do you have anyone that you care about? Yes, Sasuke simply said. But I hurt her too much. Hayami sat on his bed. Do you mean Sakura? With his back turned to the girl, he twisted his head slightly. Yes, Sakura she was the only one to believe in me. She always believed there was good in me. From the bottom of her soul, she believed, Sasuke said. She's important to you, Sasuke. How come I don't see you with her? Is she mad at you? So it would seem. I guess I'm to blame. Remember what I said about vengeance consuming you? Well, because of my hatred for my brother, it almost got her killed. It was hard for Sasuke to say that. He studied the girl for a reaction, but all he got was her looking down, sad. Flashback. 2.5 years had passed since he arrived at Orochimaru's place. During that time, his strength increased while his bonds with Team 7 faded. He was heading back from the training quarters to his room. Orochimaru had finished showing him a new jutsu earlier. He decided to remain and focus his training. Sasuke purposely held back during his training. He didn't want Orochimaru to see the extent of his power. During the night, he would read scrolls he brought from the Uchiha compound, giving him more insight to the powers of the Sharingan. After doing that for the first few months or so, he understood the capabilities of the Sharingan better than anyone, except Itachi. Kakashi may have had experience, but what he studied came straight from the Uchiha scrolls. Walking past a room, he heard Kabuto. He decided to get close enough to hear what he was saying without being detected. Lord Orochimaru, the boy, is too powerful. He has more power than you think. I would kill him now and choose another container. In another year, his power might be too much for you to contain. Sasuke heard what Kabuto said. For once, Kabuto had it right. Sasuke never intended to give over his body to Orochimaru. He wanted to kill Itachi with his hands. Orochimaru was just a means to do that. He heard Orochimaru speak. Do you think I am that weak? That boy is good, but he is no Itachi. If I could have gotten Itachi, I wouldn't have to worry. The fact is, if I could transfer with him, I could, but I have to wait another year. In that time, he will only grow stronger, giving me a stronger container along with a Sharingan. You also forget that he has my mark. He is forever my slave. You should be more worried about that book that Psykid gave you. Speaking of which, where is he? I showed him to his quarters. I'm certain that Asuma, Kurenai, that guy who can use the first wood jutsu, along with their teams, had followed us. I'm surprised that Kakashi wasn't with them, given the circumstances, Kabuto said to Orochimaru. The Sannin just shrugged. Doesn't matter who comes. They are weak. They won't get Sasuke anyway. Konoha wants the Sharingan back. I bet the elders sent them to come after me. Fools. That Nara, though, he has quite a tactical mind. Had it not been for him, I don't think I would have had as much fun playing with them. But I left them alive because we all have a common goal, and that goal is the Akatsuki. They already took out Sasori. Who knows, it might take out another member for me. Sasuke heard all he needed to hear. So, that fool Sai was right. Sakura has been searching for me. She should have stayed in the leaf. Do you think I will give you my body? Do you think that I'm controlled by this seal? The seal is just a power-up, nothing more. In another year, you will write your words. The Sharingan spun wildly as he walked down the hall. The Uchiha decided to go to his room to rest. About another hour had passed. Sasuke was lying down. He could sense something coming up behind him. What do you want? Sai provided his answer. I want to take you back to Konoha. I was originally here to kill you, but I want to protect the bond between you and Sakura, the bond that she is trying so hard to mend. Sasuke was now annoyed. You woke me up for that? Sasuke performed a jutsu that destroyed his room, creating a crater. Standing high above the crater, looking at the rubble below, he saw Sai slowly pick himself up. As he looked down at Sai, the Uchiha saw a face that he hadn't seen in a long time. "Sakura," was all he said. Turning to the direction she heard in which she heard Sasuke's voice, he could hear her say, "Sasuke." Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba, Akamaru, Yamato, Kurenai, Asuma, Ino, and Hinata came out soon after. Sasuke looked down at the faces below. He could see the contempt in Shikamaru and Choji's eyes. It was in Kiba's as well. Sakura and Ino were more of a shock and surprise. He couldn't really read Hinata. It didn't matter though. "Sakura, where's Kakashi and Naruto?" The reunion would be better and complete with those two. Yamato spoke since Sakura was still in shock. Kakashi couldn't make it, and Naruto, well, he's no longer a shinobi of Konoha. I am the current leader of Team Kakashi, and we are here to bring you back to Konoha, Sasuke. "Do you really think that you can win?" Sasuke said confident. "Yes, we can." Sasuke heard a voice behind him. The deepness of the voice and the bug on him, it was definitely Shino. Looking behind him, he was right. "So, you decided to catch me off guard, Shino. My bugs will drain you of your chakra. Give up and return with us," Shino stated. Sasuke turned to look at Sakura, completely ignoring Shino and the bugs on his body. She continued when she had his attention. Why did you leave? Was I not your friend?" "Friend? I don't have the luxury of friends. The person I considered my best friend, I tried to kill him. Even if I considered you a friend, what does that mean for you? Nothing too good." Sasuke appeared in front of Sakura. His arm was wrapped around her neck. Everyone was caught off guard by the speed. No one, not even the Jonins, were able to follow him. "When did he move?" Shikamaru commented. Kurenai and Asuma readied themselves. Sasuke whispered into Sakura's ear, "If you have enough time to worry about me, you should have used that time to train. You shouldn't have come here, Sakura. You should have just let me go." "How could I ever let go of someone I care for? I did that once. I won't make the same mistake with you. Deep down, somewhere in your heart, you care for me too." Sakura's words had brought up the memory of the day he left Sakura. Before he left her, he said, "Thank you." He thanked her because she cared. But it was like he told her then. They all had their own paths to follow. He slowly pulled out his katana. "Thank you again, Sakura, but I'm beyond the point of saving." Bringing his sword forward to pierce through probably the only person who cared, Sasuke stopped short of his attack. He realized that he was doing something that Itachi would have done, and that didn't sit well with him. No one noticed it because it appeared as if Sai blocked it. Sasuke smirked at Sai, who was holding his hand. "In your defense, quite correct. However, Sasuke saw Kurenai and Asuma come after him, while wood extended from Yamato's hand, throwing Sakura to the side, and waiting for the two Jonins to get close, he performed Chidori Nagaishi. Not expecting an attack of this caliber from him, Kurenai, Asuma, Sakura, and Sai were on the ground. The bugs that were on him were fried to a crisp. He jumped out of the crater to avoid Shikamaru's shadow, Choji's hand, and Kiba and Akamaru's attack. Looking down on them, "You all came here for absolutely no reason at all. I am through with you all. I am through with Konoha." Sasuke raised his hand above his head, but Orochimaru grabbed his hand. "No, Sasuke," glancing at Orochimaru, "you might want to let go of my hand." Orochimaru did as he was told and informed Sasuke it was time to go. Sasuke looked at Sakura below. The look in her eyes went from sad to pure anger. "She hates me. At least, it's better this way. The path I follow is a dark one. Nothing good will come from associating with me. Besides, Itachi will only try to take it away." In a purple haze, he, Kabuto, and Orochimaru were gone. End of flashback. "I was going to kill the one person that I cared for. I was a fool," Sasuke said out loud. "That's sad, Sasuke. Whatever happened to your brother?" Hayami asked. "I killed him." The girl was a little surprised by this, but not completely. Flashback. It had been a few months since Sasuke had last seen Sakura. His mind kept drifting to her every now and then. He couldn't explain why, but that conversation they had was still in his head. He didn't have to worry about that. He was running through the forest away from Orochimaru. He had fled the sound. However, he had no intentions of heading to the leaf. No, he felt it was time. It was time to confront Itachi. That's exactly what he would do. A year had passed, and Sasuke was in Earth Country, laying low from Orochimaru and his henchmen. Sasuke's goal was Itachi, but his brother was hard to find. He decided to train in solitude, improving his Sharingan more than he had, and his other skills. He would need to be on point when he confronted Itachi. There was no margin for error. While in a village, he overheard two men talking to some townfolk about how two men in black cloaks with red clouds destroyed their village. Listening intently, he heard one of the men say, "That man with the red eyes just stood there and watched while his partner destroyed everything. I'm glad I played dead, or else I would have been killed." Sasuke walked up to the man. "Did you hear him say where he was heading?" "Who?" he asked. "The man with the red eyes." "Well, I did hear his partner say something about dealing with a snake, but I have no idea what he meant." Sasuke knew what that meant. "So, he's going after Orochimaru. I guess I should surprise him." Sasuke's concentration was broke by the old man. "Don't tell me you're going to fight them." The blue guy was a monster, and he seemed cautious of the one with those red eyes. "Chasing after them is Suicide Kid. Why would you do that?" he asked Sasuke. Sasuke turned back to him with his Sharingan active. "Because only one with those eyes can destroy him." Sasuke left them to their drinks. "I'm coming, Itachi. I am coming for you." It took Sasuke only a few days to make it to Rice Country. He didn't expect to see what he saw. What he saw was war. Standing on the hill looking down at the rice, he could see Leaf and Sand going at Sound. Sound Village, that's where he's at, I'm certain. He was heading back to the place in which he left. It didn't take him long to reach his destination. He saw the standoff, Tsunade, Itachi, and Orochimaru. Looking at Itachi with contempt, Uchiha called out to his brother, "Itachi, Uchiha." Everyone turned to face Sasuke, who appeared out of nowhere. Orochimaru couldn't have been happier. Sasuke would be able to hold off Itachi while he took care of Tsunade. Sasuke knew that attacking Itachi outright would be foolish, so he waited. Itachi took his attention off of Orochimaru. "So, you came for me, Sasuke. I hope you have those eyes, or else it'll be pointless." Sasuke could feel the curse seal. "So, you think that it will affect me? I've grown beyond its control." Itachi saw the glow on Sasuke's neck. Turning to Orochimaru, "It's useless. He is out of your realm of control. Did you really think you would get the Sharingan, Orochimaru?" Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at Itachi. The Uchiha was right. In the years past, Sasuke would be on the ground due to the pain and would have given in to stop it. The boy had surpassed what he could have imagined. Sasuke's Sharingan eyes activated and turned towards the snake Zanin. "Your seal is nothing more than a power-up for me now. I plan on dealing with you soon enough, but I will end your life now." Tsunade, who was watching the exchange, was about to attack Orochimaru. That was until Itachi held his hand out to her. "Don't. Sasuke will deal with him. I want to see how far he has come in these years. Besides, if you make a move, I will be your opponent." "Like you can beat me, Itachi. I'm not some lightweight like Orochimaru who's scared of those eyes of yours. Not only am I a medic ninja, I'm a taijutsu specialist. A Sharingan user's worst matchup," Tsunade pointed out. "I'm sure you would give me a good fight, but do you really want to risk it?" "Just sit back and watch." Orochimaru didn't doubt his skills, but his skill lied in ninjutsu, and that was a big disadvantage when going into a battle against an elite Uchiha. He didn't fear the Sharingan so much. He feared the power of the user. He knew what Itachi was capable of. He did take his left arm after all, so that fear wasn't misplaced. Sasuke, he had trained the boy himself, and he allowed him to slip through his fingers. Orochimaru decided to play mind games with Sasuke. He had experience over the kid, surely he could work it to his advantage. "You came for me for power, and now that you have a little, you think you can stand against me? I will show you the price of betrayal, Sasuke." Biting his thumb, he slammed his hand down on the ground, bloodied. Summoning Jutsu, standing on top of Manda, Orochimaru looked down at them all. I will have Manda eat you first, Sasuke, then I will deal with Tsunade and Itachi soon enough. Sasuke smiled. Orochimaru would soon find the error of his ways. Manda, give me Kusunagi. Manda looked at Sasuke. My sword is already with the strongest of those who hold my contract. You are not the strongest any longer, Orochimaru. Sasuke couldn't help but laugh at Orochimaru. I guess there goes your ace in the hole, but really, Sasuke appeared on top of Manda's head. Manda, you are dismissed. In a puff of smoke, the snake disappeared. Sasuke and Orochimaru landed. Orochimaru didn't believe Sasuke was his better. He was about to attack, but Sasuke used the ultimate form of genjutsu that could be used with the eye when not being able to have access to the Mangekyo Sharingan. Evil reflection reflected the person's worst fear. Orochimaru's fear was dying, even if it was the ultimate genjutsu for the Sharingan, excluding the one provided by Mangekyo. He knew that it wouldn't be long till Orochimaru broke free. This is why he wasted no time in preparing a Raikiri. Using his speed to get in front of Orochimaru, the Sannin broke the genjutsu, but it wasn't fast enough. The Raikiri had pierced through the heart of the body in which he had stolen. His last words were, Sasuke. Ripping his arm from Orochimaru, the man fell to the ground, dead. And he calls himself a Sannin. Pathetic. Fool should have known better than to make eye contact with me. It would have been a much better fight if he had not. Turning his attention to Itachi, he directed his words at Tsunade. I have no issues with you. He is the person I want to fight. Do not interfere. Tsunade didn't care either way. If they wanted to kill one another, that was fine by her. She would play the background. One thing was for certain, she wouldn't underestimate Sasuke like her dead Sannin. Sasuke was focused on Itachi. You will not be leaving here alive today. Let's see how much you've improved, Sasuke. I don't think you improved that much. I doubt that I'll have to remove my cloak, Itachi said confidently. Sasuke moved at blinding speed and placed a kick that was aimed at Itachi's head, but Itachi blocked it effortlessly. Using his hands for support, Sasuke swiped Itachi's legs, but Itachi appeared 20 feet behind Sasuke. You still have a long ways to go. What are you talking about? Itachi was rarely surprised by anything. The mere fact that Sasuke appeared behind him without him noticing was shocking enough. When Sasuke went to punch, Itachi faded from view. Sasuke turned to his right to see Itachi removing his robe. I guess you have improved. Are you ready, little brother? The stern look told Itachi all he needed to know. Starting off with the fire jutsu, Itachi countered with the water jutsu. Sasuke wasted no time appearing behind his brother and turning this into a taijutsu match. After 10 minutes or so of fighting, Itachi couldn't believe it. Sasuke and him were on even ground. How did he come this far in just a 4-year span? He must have sacrificed everything to dedicate himself to training. Losing sight of Sasuke, a kick sent Itachi crashing into the ground. Standing up and wiping the blood away, Itachi spoke. You have improved, Sasuke. I didn't think you would be where you're at this early. Itachi noticed the newcomers land next to Tsunade. Oh, if it isn't Kakashi and Sakura. Sasuke's eyes widened when he heard Sakura's name. Itachi saw this. So, he still has one weakness. He looked at Sasuke. I see you care for that girl deeply. I guess I can kill her. Sasuke remembered that look. It was the same one in Itachi's eyes the night he murdered the clan. Before Tsunade and Kakashi could defend Sakura, Itachi slashed upward with the kunai. Time stood still. Sakura didn't realize she was in Sasuke's arms. When she looked up, she saw Sasuke looking down at her angry. Idiot, I told you not to come after me. Kisame and Deidara landed next to Itachi. Tsunade wanted to attack him, but she knew that would not be possible. Not with those two, anyway. Itachi's eyes were glued to Sasuke and Sakura. Kisame, take care of Tsunade. Deidara, you owe Kakashi for that arm, right? He's yours. Sakura saw the gash across his chest. You saved me, Sasuke, I thought. Sasuke stood slowly. Shut up, I told you not to come, and here you are. There's a reason my brother told you not to come, Sakura. Itachi was a few feet behind her. She turned around to hear his explanation. My brother, he cares for you. If he didn't, he would have let you die. My brother doesn't need any distractions, Sakura. I will kill you, and he will feel that regret of not being able to do anything. Sakura prepared herself for his attack. Sasuke, who had his fist clenched with his head down, said in a low voice, "Not again." Itachi looked at Sasuke. "What's this?" Itachi saw blood fall from Sasuke's eyes. When he looked up, he could see it. Sasuke's cheeks were stained with blood in the form of tears. But that wasn't what worried Itachi. It was the transformation of Sasuke's eyes. He had unlocked the Mangekyo. Appearing in front of Sakura, Sasuke whispered so she could only hear, "Get out of here now." Sakura was reluctant to leave, but she did. Itachi didn't give chase. He really didn't care for the girl anymore. What he had been waiting for had occurred. Sasuke had activated the Mangekyo. He had believed that killing one's best friend would allow for this change, but obviously that wasn't the case. Maybe there was another way that wasn't known. "So, you're standing before me with the very eyes that I told you to have when you confront me. I think it's time to close this chapter, Sasuke." Itachi slipped into a fighting stance. Sasuke did the same. "Yes, let's end it, brother." Ocean blue auras encased their bodies. It would end here. The two took off at each other. Sakura was watching the battle, and she couldn't even follow that much. It wasn't until 20 minutes or so later when they started slowing down on their taijutsu. She thought that it would be the end there, but it didn't. They created distances. A black flame that shot from the eyes of both brothers scorched the area. Standing in the middle, while surrounded by the flames, the two brothers stared each other down. Their chakra was low, and it was a standstill throughout. Itachi looked at Sasuke. "How about we finish this with Tsukuyomi?" Sasuke nodded. It was only fitting to finish it that way. Using the Mangekyo, the two entered the world of Tsukuyomi. Standing in the realm of Tsukuyomi, Sasuke created an illusion in which the whole clan was cheering him on. Itachi looked at everyone. How nostalgic are they for moral support? Sasuke didn't say anything, he just attacked Itachi. Itachi blocked the punch coming from his right, and avoided the kick aimed at his face. Sasuke went to attack again, but Itachi dodged and planted a kick in his jaw, sending Sasuke to the floor. "It's over, Sasuke. You've pushed me as far as you could. However, I will end this now." Sasuke's laughter echoed throughout the world. "Do you really think that it's over? Sorry, Itachi. But when you suggested this, you lost. Can't you feel it?" Itachi noticed the change in the world. He was standing where he stood when he told Sasuke he wasn't worth killing. Sasuke appeared before him as a little kid, then instantly he was the young man that Itachi was facing. Itachi realized what Sasuke was talking about. This world, he had no control. He just smiled at his brother. "Well done, Sasuke. Well done." Sasuke was confused. "What do you mean, well done? Are you admitting defeat?" "Yes, brother. Your eyes are stronger than my own. It's evident by your control over this world," Itachi responded. Sasuke knew it was over. He could sense when he entered the realm. He could feel his absolute control over this world. But before he killed Itachi, he needed to know, before you die, why? There are things that are best unanswered. I will say this though, Sasuke. The purification of our clan will start with you. I merely set it up for you to resurrect the clan into something better. Don't make the same mistakes that our ancestors made. Itachi's words only caused for more curiosity. Itachi could feel his feet sinking into the ground. The chains were holding his hands. Looking at Sasuke, his brother was preparing the Chidori. When he charged at him, Itachi whispered, "Goodbye, little brother." He felt the Chidori plunge into his chest, but before he died, he looked Sasuke in the eye. Every memory regarding their clan, he passed it on to Sasuke. Itachi whispered, "Thank you." When Sasuke blinked his eyes in the real world, Itachi fell on his face. He looked down at his brother. He did what he finally wanted to do, but why did it hurt? Everything was supposed to feel better, but it didn't. It was like Kakashi said, it was empty. Maybe it was because of the memories Itachi planted in his head. Sasuke wondered if what he did was right. Falling to his knees, he screamed out loud. He then passed out in the middle of the area, surrounded by flames. End of flashback. Hayami looked at Sasuke, who was quiet for the last minute. No words were exchanged after he told her that story. She didn't know what to think except that it was sad. His brother did kill his family, but still, it must have been harder on him, she thought. Sasuke turned to the girl. Do you have a dream, Hayami? When I was younger, mine was to become a military police, like my father. I sacrificed everything to kill my brother, and honestly, I regret it. I'm nominated for the Hokage, and to tell you the truth, I don't even want the position. Don't be like me. Face your fear before it turns you against those that care for you. Hayami grabbed his hand. Sasuke looked down at the smiling girl. You care for Sakura, right? Mommy used to tell me that when you care for someone, you should always make sure they know it. Mommy used to always tell me that she loves me and kiss me goodnight. Daddy too. Thinking of her parents caused her to become gloomy. Sasuke spoke. Cherish those memories. Use them to get stronger. Don't live in the past. Forge a future and get stronger to protect those you love. Maybe if I'd done that part, Team 7 will still be one, thinking the last part. Hayami sat on the bed once more. She watched Sasuke look at the picture with her big brother. Sasuke couldn't help but wonder how things would have turned out had he not left the village. Sasuke turned around when he heard light snoring. He gazed upon the one responsible. Instead of carrying her in her room, Sasuke adjusted her in his bed and placed the covers over the girl. She's right, you know. You should tell her how you feel. The voice, Sasuke could tell it was Yumi. He just knew Tamari was standing next to her. Sasuke turned to face the two girls. I won't be back tonight. Don't disturb her, okay? Sasuke walked past the two, who just watched him. Sasuke, I didn't know that his past was so tragic. They're so similar, him and Hayami, Yumi pointed out. Tamari's eyes were on the Uchiha. So, that's why he's the way he is. Living only to kill the man responsible for your clan's demise. Not only that, the man who committed the crime is your brother, exchanging happiness for power. Could I do that if Gaara, Kankuro, or Shikamaru was killed and I knew the one responsible? Tamari prayed she would never have to find out that answer. 20 minutes later, Sakura changed into her nightgown. She had just gotten off work and she was tired. At least tomorrow was her day off. Her ninja training told her someone was watching her. Turning to her window, she saw Sasuke standing in the building across, looking at her. Sasuke knew he had gotten her attention. The two never took their eyes off one another. Sakura nodded, understanding what he wanted. She decided to throw on some sweatpants and meet him outside. When she came outside, Sasuke was waiting for her. The two started walking side by side each other. Neither said anything. Sasuke smirked, causing her to say, "Why are you smirking?" The silence. It reminds me when I first returned. You didn't talk to me for 4 months, Sasuke remembered. I was angry with you, angry that you left me in the first place. Angry at you for Naruto's banishment. I was just angry at you, but I couldn't hate you, Sakura said. Well, coming to my house to chew me out put me under the impression that you did, Sasuke said. If I did, would it have led to us doing that? Sakura pointed out. Sasuke remembered. Sakura had just come to his house and just ripped into him, and the next thing happened was, well, you know what happened. I guess not. Sasuke, what do you want? Sakura looked into his onyx eyes, waiting for an answer. Sakura, he paused. I just want to say thank you for always caring. I don't really know what I did wrong, but I will make an effort to correct it. I'm not good with this, this mushy crap. Sakura cupped his chin with her palm and smiled. Well, at least you're making an effort with this mushy crap. Well, you should get some rest, Sasuke suggested. Where are you going? Sakura asked. For a walk, alone. You look tired. Go to sleep, Sakura. Before Sasuke could walk off, Sakura grabbed his hand. Don't you get tired of being alone? I'm not too tired to keep you company. Sasuke's smile was small, but it was genuine. The two walked not knowing where they were going. Sasuke didn't care where they went. This time, he wouldn't be alone on his path. Hokage Tower. Tsunade was watching with her crystal ball. The Uchiha does have a heart. I never saw what Sakura saw, but I knew that Hayami would eventually make him face himself. He saw his younger self inside the girl, and it was like he was reliving his past all over again. Kakashi, who was sitting next to Tsunade, spoke. It seems that you are right about the girl's effect on Sasuke and vice versa, but it seems he doesn't want to be the Hokage. Doesn't matter, I've already selected the person I want to lead this village. When my time comes to turn it over, Tsunade informed the copy ninja. Oh, who might this shinobi be? Kakashi asked. Her gaze caused Kakashi to look at the crystal ball with his exposed eye. Oh, so that's who. Training grounds. Konohamaru was attacking the log with all he had. The determination in his eyes to get better was viable. His assault on the log was a constant sequence. Nothing would get in his way from reaching its goal. Not the pain in his arms, not the fatigue he was feeling. Nothing. He would do what was necessary. He would become the 6th Hokage. Hokage Tower. Tsunade continued to watch the boy train. The only one who has the heart and the will to protect his village is you, Konohamaru. But until your time comes, I will remain Hokage. The boy would be great for this village. The village wouldn't get the deserving Naruto, but they would get the equally dedicated and deserving Konohamaru Sarutobi. I wonder what his reaction will be when I tell him in a couple of years. Tsunade could imagine. She looked forward to that day.